5, 4, 3.
Candidate for the 1st and I am spending time now with Ian Ryan, candidate for the 1st Barnstable District State Representative seat. Welcome to the Jefferson-Jackson dinner here.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now, I understand you've been a long-time Cape local. Can you tell us how long you've been here on the Cape?
Well, I actually came back to the Cape in 1999 to help my parents who were getting a little older, and that was one thing to come back. I actually grew up south of Boston, moved here with my parents in high school, and like many young people, found it was impossible to make a living as a young person on the Cape, and moved away, came back again in 1999. So one of the reasons I'm running is to help build a strong local economy to keep local people home.
That's an exciting issue, especially for us here on the Cape Cod. We'd love to see a little bit more progressive economic development. And you're living in Dennisport. That's your hometown now?
That's right. In Dennisport, my spouse and I have a 50-room resort in Dennisport right on the beach. So we're part of the hospitality economy, and our goal is to sort of use that to help build a year-round economy.
Fantastic. Speaking about that year-round economy, building the local availability of jobs for young people, you have a few different issues that you decided you wanted to tackle as you jumped into the race for state rep. Can you talk about some of those?
Well, one thing that's important for young people are young families. Young families go where there are good schools. So we have an issue state-wise with our school funding formula. We need to change our school funding formula so that we have school budgets that represent what students need now and not what they needed in 1994 when the law was written. We need to adjust the formula for how much local payments we're making because property values on the Cape are really high and outstrip our income in a way that isn't figured in the formula. And when the state requires that, in addition to our regular schooling, we have to do special education payments. There ought to be a school stabilization fund so that schools don't have to pay it out of their current year budget, that they could have a stabilization fund to borrow from and repay as the state repays the district.
Okay.
Yeah.
With regard to education, that issue has been tackled many times over the years. We understand sometimes it's an uphill battle,
right.
And perhaps you having some Boston roots might absolutely help to a degree in presenting that issue among some of the Boston legislators to a degree?
Oh, I'm not so sure. I think the thing that needs to change first about the law is that we've written it so that the budget is based on a formula written in 1994. What we need to do is build an administrative structure that the legislature then can use its oversight power to make sure it's actually representing the will of the people, but which will make school budgets reflect what educators say children need now or in the next 1 or 2 years and not 25 years ago.
Sure. Outside of education, are there other Cape-based or other statewide issues that you feel very strongly about that have prompted you to want to run for this position?
Well, one of the most important things we deal with in the hospitality industry is wastewater management. It's going to be a really big problem if we don't take care of it shortly. We need a regional approach because we're all on the same aquifer. We essentially share the same water source, but the way we deal with it between estuary to estuary has got to be different. So I'd like to see a regional plan with local implementation by town or even by neighborhood so that it is not outrageously expensive but actually fixes the problem.
And that investment in our environmental sustainability is going to help underwrite our economic viability going into the future.
Correct.
Any other issues that you feel strongly compelled to? Other reasons why you might have jumped into the race for state rep?
Well, one of the things that is happening statewide and nationwide is revisiting our infrastructure maintenance policies, and the Cape sort of gets the short end of the stick. We produce billions and billions of dollars for Boston to spend based on our hospitality industry, so we ought to be driving on roads as smooth as glass. But because we have a relatively small delegation, we have to be mediators and very persuasive. You know, there are only 6 of us, 6 representatives. We've got to make the case to 28 representatives in just the greater Boston area.
Well, hopefully if we send you on up there, you can be a part of that delegation that can persuade those folks in Beacon Hill to bring us back a little bit more fairness to that.
Part of my legal training has been as a mediator, so it's important to frame the issue not as we get something so someone else must lose something, but that infrastructure improvements on the Cape help all of Massachusetts, and that's how we'll do it.
And finding those mutually beneficial win-win scenarios is something that sounds like you're prepared to do for us. So we wish you the best of luck in your race. Look forward to a very exciting campaign, and whatever support we can give you as Cape Island Democrats, we hope to offer you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.